Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturchio and Chris Gueci.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mojo Market Report here on a Football Victory Monday. It is your boys, Dave Sturchio, Chris Gueci, and of course, A5 Anthony behind the glass here at Chop Studios. Chris, real quick, gotta know something. One question, simply put, you like that?
Oh, stop.
You like that? Oh, my God, do I feel good about it.
Your voice even cracked.
It did.
Like
Listen,
Kirk
just like
did.
Kirk. Just like Kirk.
What an embarrassment.
Wow. Did the Vikings look like they were prepared for the Dallas Cowboys? So anyway, there's a lot to get into today. The Cowboys obviously get a massive, massive win over the Vikings. Their biggest win, by the way, in franchise history on the road. Ever. 37-point win. Never done before. Speaking of the NFC East, the Giants, they showed themselves a little bit. They drop a game to the Detroit Lions. Those hungry Lions have won 3 in a row. So that's impressive. The Jets, they decide they can't move the ball worth of anything. We'll get into their leader later on. But that's a hard way to lose. I felt like it was very reminiscent of when Matt Dodge kicked the ball to Mr. Deshaun Jackson back in the Meadowlands. This was the same thing. I know. I brought that up. I'm not going to say I originally thought of that. I heard that on the way in.
So I will say this. That moment in time, that moment in sports history is solely responsible. Well, not solely responsible, but that got me a championship. If the Giants win that game, the Packers don't make the playoffs, they won the Super Bowl that year. Like, they would not have made the postseason. So
thank you, Matt Dodge. This is the Matt Dodge show.
And Deshaun Jackson will always hold a special place in my heart for that run. Back.
I mean, look,
no doubt.
A miracle at the Meadowlands. This one was at the I don't know how I'm trying to on the fly, like something at
Gillette?
Foxborough. The game at Gillette. So yes, the game at Gillette played out very well. We did. On the fly like that, that's very hard. But anyway, so the Patriots get a very big win for their team. All of a sudden, the Jets are dead last in their division, but again, 6-4, dead last. That AFC East, something to be said for. And then, of course, we ended the night with Mahomes doing Mahomes things, and too much time for Mahomes and getting the ball back and doing his thing. And the Chiefs are winners again. Now up 2 games. Plus a sweep.
Taylor Swift did clean up at the AMAs yesterday. Clean sweep. 6 awards, 6 nominations. So shout out to the GOAT there.
Yeah, and also shout out to Ticketmaster for dropping that ball.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
I mean, there is Swifties out there everywhere.
I am going through it.
I thought you said you had tickets.
Well, I was under the wrong impression. I just was not paying close enough attention to how that went.
There's actually a Swift on this show who's completely crapped the bed as well. We'll get into that. But it's time for the top movers from Sunday, from week number 11. Again, we have to start with my boy, Tony P. Tony Pollard has himself an absolute day. From the backfield, 15 rushes for 80 yards, but from the air, he catches a couple balls out of the from the backfield. Bro, it was house call.
Tracking fly balls all day?
Absolutely. House call after house call after house call. 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's up with his multiplier, however, would have been up 25% in one day. Tony Pollard has absolutely solidified himself as one of the better running backs in football. I'm not just talking about on Dallas. Like, look, with the Dallas Cowboys right now, if I looked correctly today, the market isn't open yet as we record this, but the Cowboys have two of the top 16 running backs on the Mojo market.
I'm going to check.
Incredible.
Do you know who Pollard is in between?
He is. I mean, he's right behind Kareem Hunt. And look, I'm doing that off memory because he's on my watch list right now, and I forget who he's.
Latavius Murray.
Yeah, so Murray,
but Murray had a nice little.
Yeah, he scored too. But what I'm looking at,
can't get rid of Latavius Murray. In the NFL. Really. He just keeps on resurfacing and having like a good week 11.
And then he's like, all right, cool. Right? Yeah.
How many good week 11s is Latavius Murray going to have?
1,000. But what I will say is Tony Pollard, the guys ahead of him, he'll pass Kareem Hunt, I think, on the market. But then like the guys ahead of him, they're rightfully right where they're going to be. So I don't know.
Look,
based off a contract, I don't know.
Hunt and Tony Pollard are kind of in a similar spot where I think they both feel like they deserve more in terms of the
that's true.
How many touches they're getting in the game.
We got 15 yesterday.
I think Tony Pollard kind of has established himself at this point as the guy that is going to make that offense better. I think Zeke has his role, and we've been saying this, but I think the Cowboys have finally caught on to what the public has believed for quite some time now, is that Tony Pollard he opens things up a a bit. And it allows for Dak to be able to use Zeke the right way, handed him the ball in between tackles.
Friend of the
Tony
show,
Pollard is the man.
Friend of the show told me this morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, by the way, 5:30 in the morning, text me, he goes, glorified fullback is Zeke Elliott. And I said, you know what?
Fine.
I don't care. I don't care because this is what the Cowboys do now. If they establish the run, good things could happen. The Dallas Cowboys, if you're not an investor.
We're talking about fullback. Like, he's really not that good of a fullback.
I mean, he blocks well.
I'm just trying to find.
Oh, are you really going to fire me up on a Monday?
You know, as far as fullbacks go,
untouchable. All right,
not that good.
Kyle Juszczyk, get on out of here. It's Zeke time, baby. But no, it was a great game out of Pollard. You really want to get on a Pollard now because, again, going forward, whether it is with Dallas or it's somewhere else, which all signs point to
somewhere else.
No, something's going to happen.
Honestly, realistically, all signs do point towards something else. It's because there is going to be a team. He is going to be a free agent.
Now, remember, the Cowboys were in a situation where DeMarcus Lawrence was also on his way out, but he was like, you know what, I kind of want to stay here, so I got to restructure.
I understand.
If Zeke wants to stay, he's going to have to restructure. That's all. That's it.
Yes,
done.
But the risk of that is that if that doesn't happen soon, the other teams are not going to wait for Tony Pollard. So Dallas may have to have something done before they're able to get a restructure done. That's a unique spot to be in.
And that's an off-season watch.
They can't really afford. They can't afford to lose the running back. I'm not saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people are like, okay, we're just going to find the next Tony Pollard next year, and I'm like, well, they don't exist.
Good luck.
Exactly. So, not sticking with the best running back going yesterday in the market. Now there's a little bit of trepidation with one of the worst performances. And it's somebody that we set to short already. So it's almost like hey, guys, we were right. And again, we don't like to do that too often, but then again, we do. It's DeAndre Swift, man. There's something going on over there. Jamal Williams, he texted me. He goes, by the way, he texted me, Jamal Williams leads the NFL in touchdowns. And I'm like, what? Yeah. And I knew he was a vulture, and I knew he gets a lot of carries inside the 5. But now there's something to be said about DeAndre Swift, who, by the way, Luke Sawhook, who is a friend of the show and obviously one of the writers and big social media advocate for Mojo, went out and said that he made a trade in his fantasy for DeAndre Swift. And I was like, okay, why? He's like, oh, the upside. I'm like, where? Like, where? Something's wrong here. What's broken in Detroit's running game?
I don't think there's anything really that broken.
Besides maybe him. He's the broken.
I think he's been broken on and off throughout his career, and that's been mainly the issue. And when you're not on the field and you have guys like Jamal Williams, look, Jamal Williams, he had 17 carries, 64 yards.
3
I don't
touchdowns.
even think he eclipsed the 4 yards per carry mark. So it wasn't like he was carving up the Giants defense either. But
3.8.
At the same time, leading the NFL in touchdowns, when you get the opportunities in this league and you take advantage of them, which is what he's been doing. I know Detroit's on a little surge right now. They won 3 in a row.
Biting kneecaps and getting dubs.
The Lions won 3 straight games. I would say that their season is very much alive at this point, the way the 7th spot in the NFC looks.
I mean,
look, if I was sitting here last week and I was talking like, well, the Packers have a shot, even though I really wasn't saying that out loud privately in my own brain, I was looking at the standings and saying, oh, if we could win this game, we'll be literally a half a game out, depending on what happens in the San Fran game. Detroit's in a very similar spot, only the thing about Detroit is they're surging. And Green Bay's not. So I wouldn't say their season's over, but I think that DeAndre Swift's season as a RB1 might be over. It's the 4th game now where he failed to eclipse the 20-yard mark. 3 previous to that, he didn't eclipse the 10-yard mark. He actually had
20 yards.
Yeah.
That's it.
So he didn't even eclipse the 20-yard mark. He did eclipse the 10-yard mark, but 4 straight games now where he hasn't gone over 20 yards rushing.
He did score a touchdown. But it doesn't matter. It's about the future market here.
How disrespectful was that they did not give that touchdown to Jamal Williams?
You could have went for the whatever I was going to say trifecta, but what would be the quadra?
I don't know.
Quadrupt.
He could have had 4 touchdowns.
Right.
He could have had 4 touchdowns.
Could have had it, but he didn't. So DeAndre Swift, be a little worried. I mean,
I'm still on the short.
I'm on the short
Swift
side
train,
too, man. I mean, this is the guy you can't.
Every year, it's the excitement. He has the talent, but every year we're
and usually he's like banged up or something like that, and you're like, all right, well, once he gets back, and he got back this year, and he haven't done anything.
There has to be a point in a player's career where like you start looking at upside starts to not be upside anymore when it's just the more games that get played and he doesn't capitalize on anything and he doesn't make good on any of this upside that we're all talking about, eventually everyone's going to catch on. The market's eventually going to catch on. I mean, this is now over a month, right? And he only went down how much percent?
I mean,
not much.
Not much at all because, and if you look at it,
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's just I don't know. It's tough sledding right now, but we're on the short game when it comes to DeAndre Swift, specifically because A, they have Jamal Williams. B, it's just one of those things where it's just he'll vulture all the carries. I don't know. All right, somebody who had himself a day last night in a losing effort because again, Patrick Mahomes is going to Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. I mean, we could have talked about him in the open and saying, oh, another game where Travis Kelce scores 3 times. The guy is the greatest tight end maybe ever. So like that's just everybody knows. Slap the multiplier and ride it to the moon for Travis Kelce. Another guy you might want to keep your eye on is Josh Palmer. Now, the reason why Josh Palmer succeeded last night was the fact that you knew that Keenan Allen was back. You knew that Mike Williams was back. So maybe take a little pressure off of Josh Palmer. Then all of a sudden, what do we see again? One more again. Mike Williams goes down with an injury. Somebody's got to eat over there. And Justin Herbert was finally feeling himself and finally delivering the ball all over the field for a little while. And they almost had a win. Again, you leave too much time. But 10 targets. He catches 8 balls for 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. Destroyed me in fantasy football, by the way. But like, it's. Are you in on a Josh Palmer going forward? Does Herbert now find? Has he found his third guy?
Yeah, I think Josh Palmer's a nice fit in that offense. He's very similar. I wouldn't say similar to Keenan Allen in the sense of where he's an elite talent, because I think Keenan Allen is one of the best receivers that we've seen in the last decade.
I think so too.
But what he does well is he runs his routes. He finds nice pockets in the defense. He's not the fastest guy, but he has his way about him where he gets open.
Yeah, when he got the ball, there's nobody around him a lot.
And he had 10 targets, you said yesterday?
Yes.
So that means over the last 4 weeks combined, he's got 40. 40 targets over 4 games. To me, I don't know how you could not be in on him on all fronts. Mike Williams came back, and that was a little, and Keenan Allen came back, and you were like, okay, so I faded Palmer. I have him in a lot of fantasy leagues. I faded him, and I sat him yesterday. I started Mike Williams in most of my leagues.
Yeah, so did I.
I paid the price for that, but that's not a bad move on my part. It's just, but guess what? Mike Williams now, the ankle injury is a high ankle sprain.
Ugh.
We just saw what happened.
Missed another 4 or 5 weeks.
We just saw what happened with Cooper Kupp with the high ankle sprain. He had surgery. High ankle sprains are, in some cases, more painful than a break. Less recovery time, but this is not a good injury. He's probably going to be out an extended period again. So, being that he's been out an extended period, we saw what he's able to do with Keenan Allen in the lineup, because a lot of what he's done has been with Keenan Allen out, and it's just been him kind of running the show. Now he has that true one across from him. I think it's almost going to be a better spot now. You could see a lot of what Mike Williams was doing in that Chargers offense shift right on over to a Josh Palmer.
Yeah, so look, Josh Palmer, again, offered a 3-time multiplier right now, would have been up 18% overnight. So clearly, if you're in on Josh Palmer, the sky is the limit for a guy like this because he's going to get himself a lot more reps going forward.
I would imagine Josh Palmer's month looks really good. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah,
right
check
now.
that. But like I said, Josh Palmer, the Chargers have put themselves in a position now where they're down 2 games in the actual standings to the Chiefs and now have gotten swept by the Chiefs. So all of a sudden, you know, they're going to be in comeback mode right now. So they're going to be slinging the ball over the place.
So with his multiplier over the last month, I apologize to cut
cool.
you off. He's up at like 55, 60%.
Oh, baby. All right. So get in on Josh Palmer. Do it. All right. Another receiver who had himself a day, got himself a win, is T. Higgins. Now, it's so funny when we talk about T. Higgins because obviously he has himself an incredible day. 13 targets, 9 catches, 148 yards, right? 5-time multiplier would have been even better if you had it on him. When I look at T. Higgins, when the Bengals drafted T. Higgins, you're saying to yourself, all right, cool. They just got their number 1 for the next 5 years, at least. And then, oh, by the way, Jamar Chase falls into their lap. People keep forgetting that T. Higgins is a wide receiver 1. I think that the idea now, because they have a Jamar Chase, is that Higgins is just a great 2. He's a 1. He showed it yesterday again. The absence of Chase obviously helps out tremendously when it comes to targets, but like at the same time, T. Higgins is a baller, and he keeps doing it time and time again.
Yeah, and what we're seeing now is, not that anybody didn't believe this already or needed to see this, but T. Higgins is fully capable of being a true number 1 receiver for a team. Because with Chase out and him shifting into the number 1 role, he hasn't missed a beat. In fact, he's done better.
Yeah.
13 targets, catches 9 of them. I think he had over 150 yards or approached 150 yards. So, you know, he's stretching the field for the offense. He's a big guy. The thing that I find interesting here is I don't know that they're going to be able to pay both of the receivers.
Well, they're not.
And T. Higgins is going to come up first. You run the risk because if you can do this. You could say, okay, we're going to give him that 5th-year option because he's a first-round pick.
They can do that.
So T. Higgins can get the 5th-year option, but then at the same time, in that following offseason, you're going to have him in his walk year, where you're going to be able to
and Chase in his walk year.
You're
really,
going to be able to franchise tag him, but we know what the cost of the franchise tag for receiver is going to be. And at the same time, I don't know that Jamar Chase is going to be in the sense of where he's going to be down to take that 5th year. Like he might say, hey, he might do a little Lamar and say, I'm not playing on the 5th year. I need the extension now.
Oh, absolutely. Should.
And rightfully so. So you could be coming up on a point where you have 2 of the top 5, definitely top 10, but maybe top 5 receivers in football in terms of dollar amount that they're going to demand up for contract at the same time. I'm curious to know how they're going to finesse this situation.
Oh, by the way, Joe Burrow. By the way,
Burrow.
Joe Mixon.
Mixon will probably be on his way out.
That's true, too.
Truth be told.
And he got hurt again, too, by the way.
But that also, therein lies another issue. It's like, I'm pretty sure they just locked up Tyler Boyd, so they don't have to really worry there. But the offensive line needs fixing. They can't put all that money into the receivers. And then if they don't do that.
It worked for L.A., right? They got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both making 20. But the market, when they both made 20, is fine.
Yeah, but
now you got guys that are going to be demanding 30.
Very different situation. Okay, you could sit here and say, yeah, it worked for the Rams. The Rams play. It's a very unique spot. Oh, Chargers.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the Rams signing Odell last year. My bad. But yes, and the Chargers they're going to struggle down the line. And really, you're saying 20 million? We're talking 30 maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's the market price for these guys is going to be ridiculous.
I'm not in the belief that the Bengals, who are typically a cheap team and a cheap organization, are going to be willing to pay 2 receivers that much money. Where does T. Higgins end up? Because I have to imagine that he's the odd man out.
Right next to CeeDee Lamb and Beckham and everybody else.
Dallas might be losing CeeDee Lamb at the exact same time.
All right, everybody calm down. Okay, I'm in a good mood. There's nothing you can say to bring me down today.
That's true, though.
It's very true. It's the same year. Yeah, I know. I'm well aware. I was there. Where were you when the Eagles passed up on all this talent and then not decided to draft?
Where were you when the Cowboys passed up on Justin Jefferson?
Where were you where Justin Jefferson had 33 yards yesterday because Trayvon Diggs locked him down like I said he would?
Would you trade CeeDee Lamb? Would you trade CeeDee Lamb straight up for Jefferson?
Hell yeah.
All 33 of those yards can bring their ass right to Dallas.
I say that and jokingly. I like CeeDee Lamb on this team. I think he's a very, very talented receiver. Do I think Jay Jetta is the best receiver in football? I do.
Jokingly.
But lockdown. Clamps on him yesterday. Speaking of clamps.
No, you clamped down Kirk Cousins yesterday.
You like that? Speaking of clamps, okay. There's clamps on the Jets quarterback. Okay. This guy, I know that it wasn't even like contractually we had to talk good about him because it's not. If we didn't think he was going to be good, we just don't talk good about him. And that's it. We're like, hey, by the way, he's a rookie. He's our guy. He's a New Jersey guy. My man might stink at football. He might be Baker Mayfield.
He's becoming very easy to dislike.
It's very apparent.
Very easy
that
to dislike.
Zach Wilson is not the guy.
He just does. I don't know if he realized that when he was in the post game yesterday that it was the New York media that he was talking to.
You can't shut them down. They are blood-sucking vultures.
I wonder if he has any clue.
None.
What it's like or what it's going to be like the rest of this week and conversely this season if the wheels come off for the
9
Jets.
for 22.
I don't know,
for
man.
77 yards. 40% completion percentage, sacked 4 times. Now, here's the hope that anybody who invested money on the spike and looking, when he got back from injury, boop, off the road. Like everybody was like, let's get in on Zach. Here we go. And you know what? He didn't look like total garbage. He didn't. But all of a sudden, he goes little by little every week, down, down, down. And I'm sorry that if you held on to Zach looking for a resurgence this week against Bill Belichick, you lost 70% of your money with the multiplier. That's bad news bears. You can't, until this guy gets it right, and until this guy throws a pass where you're like, wow, that was a good pass by Zach Wilson. I haven't even seen that. There was one lollipop ball to Mims on the sideline where I'm like, where was he even trying to go with that ball?
Look,
that's a bad quarterback.
I fully
right now,
anticipated to see Zach Wilson struggle on Sunday, and even as bad as he did. I really did. I thought going into Foxborough, Zach Wilson was going to have his hands full, and he did. And
Zach,
the thing that really is troubling to me, more so than anything, is, all right, Robert Saleh came out and said what he said after the game, and he said it was a dog shit performance by the offense, and rightfully so it was. Then you ask Zach Wilson the same question, essentially, and he was like, oh, no, it wasn't. You know, it was fine.
Yeah. Do you find yourself hold? Do you
feel like you hold the defense?
Yeah. No. And now there is a little backstory. There's a backstory to that comment. is the fact that him and that reporter just don't get along. That reporter, I don't know if you needed to throw that in there as a reporter. And I understand journalists are trying to do their job.
It's his job. And look,
I get that part.
I am definitely not in the realm of pro reporter. I think most of the media, in terms of how they handle these situations, are not good. But knowing what you know about the media, and knowing what you know, like you have to do your job properly. You have to be a professional. You don't think there's a ton of media members that a lot of players do not like?
It would have been solved easily if Zach Wilson came out and said, "Man, I let my team down
at
today."
that point, you're not talking to the media member. You're talking to the fan base. You're talking to the haters. You're talking to the Giant fans. You're talking to the Patriot fans. You're talking to the Dolphins fans. You're talking to everybody. You're talking to fantasy football owners. You're talking to the Mojo Market Report. You're talking to everyone. So take all your feelings about that reporter aside and realize that you have to handle yourself like a professional, because guess what?
It's an in-the-moment thing.
Because guess what?
You could
in the moment,
that.
there's people in the moment that are sitting behind that press conference that are Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner that are saying, yeah, you damn well better owe us an apology or feel responsible for that loss, because 9 completions on, 13 yards? I don't know what it was.
77, but even that.
9 completions, 77
100 yards out of the offense total, I believe.
You have to have some self-accountability. You have to be able to read the room. The room is telling you, yo, the offense looked really bad. Read that shit, dude.
Yeah, it's tough
Part
sledding
of my language.
for Zach Wilson right now. Again, if you really want to get involved with Zach Wilson, now's not the time. The time to do it was about a month and a half ago when the hype train was rolling.
How did Elijah Moore look in the slot?
No, I don't know. He completed 9 passes. How do you think he looked? You know what I'm saying? And Mims was one of them, so that leaves 8 passes to go.
Yeah.
It's a bad time.
I think that James Robinson performance in this first game with the Jets was a little bit of wolf tickets on what this offense is going to be without Breece Hall.
And look, that's the thing. Their young defense is very good at football. They're very, very good on the defensive side of the ball. You look over the offense, when Breece Hall was going, that offense can go.
Yeah, it spells.
And Zach Wilson could be the guy, be like, all right, here, just take the ball and go.
It looks to me like there's going to be a lot more of those types of questions after Jets games the rest of this season. So he's going to have to get better at handling that.
Can the Jets fix all this? They're 6-4, and obviously the season is not lost, but I don't know if the division might have just waved bye-bye. You know, you got 3 teams to climb, swept by the Pats. You know, great, feel good win against the Bills, but how much does that matter?
I don't think the wheels are done. I don't think the Jets are done.
No, not by any stretch.
Because their defense is really good, but you know, that offense is going to have to figure things out, and I don't know how they're going to be able to do it as it gets colder.
It's rough, man. I don't know. Tough sledding for Zach here in New York. So, one more game to go, and it's Monday Night Football. It goes down tonight. It's the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Cardinals from Mexico. For whatever reason, this game's in Mexico City, and the international series concludes tonight. There's no more. I don't think there's any more international games.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But anyway, tonight, big story, obviously, is that Colt McCoy is set to go again.
Oh, I thought Kyler was playing. I got to check.
From what I heard, Colt McCoy is set to go. Obviously, the Cardinals absolutely need Kyler Murray to be in this game. But this is a bigger game for the 49ers here because they are in the thick of things. 1, in the NFC West. 2, for that 7-6 seed, 6 or 7 seed. Those guys can play at a high level. Now, guys to watch tonight, to me, it's easy. It's the value you could possibly get if you invest right now in Elijah Mitchell. Because, again, everybody and their mother's like, oh, CMC, that's a shiny new toy. But you saw the split the last time these guys were on the field. And you heard the coach say, yeah, that's kind of how it's going to be. So are you in on a Mitchell, or are you just like splitting the difference? You grabbing both? What are you doing?
I'm probably not.
I know you're primetime Kirk right now, so just be careful.
Look, what I do in this spot is I need one more week to see. We've only seen them on the field together once, and that could be an anomaly. I think he had 19 carries to 18.
Yeah, right?
Elijah Mitchell had,
right
had actually one more carry than CMC. CMC's brought there not necessarily to be the pounded in between tackles running back. That's going to be Elijah Mitchell, if not Debo, if they need that to be happening down the stretch.
True.
I like both running backs. I really am a big Elijah Mitchell fan, but because of both of them, their presence, I need to see a little bit more. I think when CMC came over, the market reacted. Maybe they may have overreacted a little bit and expected him to just be the main guy, but there's a lot of mouths to feed in San Francisco. Even one more when you add Elijah Mitchell. I think they're going to run the ball a ton down the stretch, which we expect. And for that reason, I would say, yeah, they're probably going to both see 12 to 15 touches a game minimum. More from McCaffrey out of the backfield, but
if situation calls for it. You can't run the ball when you're down either.
Yeah,
so you got to get up. You got to get up.
The defense allows for them to not really be down much. The 49ers don't get blown out. So I don't know that their game plan changes all that often, even if they're down 2 scores early. I mean, that's your defense could fix things and they could tighten things
I think
up.
Hopkins is a game time decision too.
Hopkins is a game time. This is a tough game to predict in terms of I would say Rondale Moore. He's been really lighting it up of late. He had a really good week, especially if Colt
Super
McCoy
cheap
plays.
to get him now.
Fairly cheap at this point. I think that you'll see that to start to go up as we go. It's always been Rondale Moore season ever since
Every
he's joined
single
the league.
week.
So every week is Rondale Moore season. That's where I'm going with this one. The backfield in Arizona is really nothing to write home about. I'm not happy about.
It's just Connor and
I love Benjamin, the player. I didn't really like his usage over there, but
man, they dumped him real quick.
Who did?
They got rid of him.
Oh yeah. It was a surprise move. I thought he was a solid piece to that backfield,
Yeah.
but really, I'm sure that it was more like a favor. He probably didn't want to be there anymore.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But this game, I'm probably hesitant in this one. If I might go with a Debo play because he hasn't really been involved too much since CMC came over, and maybe they need to make him a little bit happy. But Arizona's defense is really bad. They haven't done much well this entire season. They lose a home game here, which maybe they'll get some fans there. I don't know. But I feel like San Francisco's got more Mexican fans for San Francisco.
But nobody has the Mexican fan base in the palm of their hands like the Dallas Cowboys.
Mexico's team.
And America's team. Yeah. How many nations do we want to take over at this point? All right, so that's
definitely fading all of the Cardinals unless Hopkins does play, but even maybe still fading. And actually, no, Rondale Moore. Rondale Moore is my main play in this game. The 49ers secondary is beat up really bad, and their defense has been on a down tick lately. They did play well last week, but yeah, I'm going to go Rondale Moore.
Good old hook 'em horns, Colt McCoy, get it done tonight with Rondale Moore. We shall find out, and we can definitely go over this game tomorrow morning on the Mojo Market Report. At this point, we're going to need you to do us all a favor. Follow the Mojo Market Report and follow the entire Mojo social media. Head on over to @Mojo, and that's Instagram, that's Twitter, that's TikTok. You can also join the Discord. I was involved in the Discord over the weekend. I wanted to show everybody. I thinned out my portfolio. I did. I'm down to just 3 players now, okay? And because I went all in, like you said. You advised me on this one in conversation in the office. You're like, look, just put it all on Tua. He's the most underpriced guy in the entire market right now. Going on to, so I did that.
And now look, I want to preface that by saying Dave doesn't have a whole ton of money in there.
Hey,
right?
whoa.
No.
Finances out. But my point being is, in there, you know.
My point being is that I would not really typically advise somebody to invest all their money in one player.
Oh, yeah, don't do that.
I would typically advise diversifying a little bit so you don't lose all your money at once.
Yeah,
but if you're just playing around and trying to bet for the season, not really make it a long-term play, then yeah, you could afford to go all in on one player.
Oh, Tua's going to buy me a house at this point. Just kidding. Totally kidding. Mojo.com is the website to go check us out over on the blogs. The writers there, incredible dudes over there and ladies. They're doing wonderful, wonderful things over at Mojo.com. So that'll do it for this show. I mean, I felt the energy today. I brought it. I brought the A game today. I felt very good about this show. I felt very good about the slate. Everybody that made us some money did very well, including
that's like Zach
Tony
Wilson.
Pollard.
That's how Zach Wilson felt after the game yesterday.
Exactly.
Too.
They asked him, how do you feel? I feel great.
It wasn't me. I brought the energy, dude.
Please go check out Ghetto Gronk, by the way. Yeah, I'm sure you missed it, but oh boy. Anyway, for Dave Sturchio, Chris Gueci, this has been another episode of the Mojo Market Report. We'll be back tomorrow. Listen, short week, guys. Thanksgiving is Thursday, so we'll be back to almost preview some of the Thursday action within the turnover. Week 12 is already here, so we'll see you guys tomorrow morning.